Wallaby squad for the Rugby Championship, folks. At least the two first games up against the Box. What's the good news? What's the bad news? And how are these guys going to go in their opening couple of tests in Joburg and Cape Town? Well, the good news is Big Will Skelton is still there. Him and Taniela Tupou, I think, showed against the Lions in that third test. They're some pretty big units, and they are hard guys to move, although a little bit of a doubt about Taniela Tupou's fitness. He's still got one fitness test to pass before he gets on the plane. Still getting over a toe injury suffered in that final test. But forward pack wise, the beef is there. I think that's a bit of good news. A little bit of, I don't want to call it a revolving door, but there are some changes. Hookers, they've lost Porecki, who retired, and they've also lost Matty Fassler to injury. So Painga, Mosa, Pollard, and then Nasser is the new guy in the mix. He's not an uncapped guy, but he certainly got fewer than 10 caps for the Wallabies. So changes in the hookers, and then loose head, you've got uncapped Aiden Ross there. He did also play the British and Irish Lions, at least for Queensland. Did he play in the AU New Zealand 15? Either way, he's there potentially getting his second international debut, having played for the All Blacks in the past. Bell is still there. Didn't really see the full impact of his ball-carrying game in the Lions series, but he's consistent. Slipper's still there. Nongo's still there. Tupou. So largely pretty stable. Fingers crossed Tupou is fit and good to go. Locks, Frost, Salakaia-Loto, Skelton, and Williams. Great to see Salakaia-Loto back. Dude played the Lions 3 times. Was very, very physical. And you got to wonder if Skelton is potentially not going to play the entire Rugby Championship, because he's got club duties coming with his French club for pre-season. I'm not sure if he'll be there for the entire Rugby Championship, but if not, it's good to have a big physical presence like Lukan Salakaia-Loto to take over as that kind of other tight head lock to bring a bit of the beef. Nick Frost with his line-out work and work rate around the park is certainly going to be good. Jerry Williams is great on the defensive line-out plays and whatnot. So, yeah, pretty steady as she goes with the addition of Salakaia-Loto. And then the back row is Gleeson, Tom Hooper, McCright, Champion de Krebney, Desano, Valentini, Wilson. Pretty steady as she goes. They did name Kale and Reimer as a couple of the unavailable injured players that they would have liked to have, but I think you'd still be pretty happy with bloody Tizano, Champion de Krebney, and McCright. You got 3 really kind of hard tackling guys who can sometimes pinch a bit of ball. At the breakdown, Harry Wilson was being the captain, and he's been leading from the front in terms of trying to get his hands on the pill. He doesn't quite have the same impactful ball carry that we saw from Valentini, but we only saw him for 40 minutes for the entire Lions series, so fingers crossed he's good to go. And then Tom Hooper, who was kind of man of the match in that final test, showed that he's, you know, a different player from the likes of a Valentini, but geez, he was busy around the park and he's tall. So another line-out option takes a bit of the pressure off Frost at line-out time. And then Gleeson can be that kind of jack-of-all-trades bench guy as well. So I think you'd be pretty happy. Alan Alatoa being injured is pretty bloody unfortunate, especially if Tupou doesn't travel. If Tupou does travel, it doesn't quite look as bad, but it'd be nice to have AAA available if possible, but he is not available. Backs-wise, they've got a couple of uncapped guys there. Ryan Lonergan's in the squad as another halfback, with Jake Gordon being out injured. That's unfortunate, but Ryan Lonergan has been Mr. Consistent for the Brumbies. Guy can kick goals as well. Tate McDermott's the kind of super sub, and then Nick White, I thought he retired. Can't get rid of him. South African fans love Nick White, especially after that Faf de Klerk mustache swipe dive. They will be looking forward to welcoming him to South African soil 100%. Maybe Nick White was so pleased with the way that final test went, because genuinely, when Joe Schmidt picked him and said he wasn't a sentimental pick, I didn't buy it, but he played really well in that final test. So Nick White, unretired already. That's one of the shortest retirements in rugby history. 10 is a bit of an issue because you got your 2 first choice guys gone. Lolesio obviously got injured against Fiji. Tom Liner got his head taken off in that final Lions test. So that means you're down to 3rd choice Ben Donaldson, who's been, you know, in Joe Schmidt's squads in the past, generally as a bit of a super sub. You got the veteran James O'Connor, who a lot of people would like to see get a start, but I can't see him getting a start. I think he's a squad man at this point. And Tane Edmed, who's, I guess, the 5th choice guy at this point. He does have 1 cap for the Wallabies, where he also got concussed, I seem to remember. But yeah, he's in there as another possible option at 10. It's probably just Donaldson, with the other guys riding the pine. I would say I don't mind Donaldson. Donaldson's a good player. A lot of people would have preferred Donaldson ahead of Liner, to be fair. So we'll see how he goes if given the chance to put the 10 jersey on for the Wallabies. Midfielders, Fluke, Ikitau, Suali'i, Paisami. There's no Dalgunu. He's awaiting for the birth of a child, so he's not going to travel to South Africa. Fluke comes in. Bit of a versatile guy, can play, 13, can play on the wing and whatnot. But I think it's probably still the Suali'i Ikitau combo. Joe seems to like Ikitau just carrying up the guts repeatedly. And Suali'i has proved that when he gets into some space, geez, he can set up the guys around him, can't he? He is a proper attacking machine. Still needs to work defensively as a 13 to improve, but dude's only 22 years old and just come back to rugby not that long ago from league, so potential is still through the roof with that guy. Outside backs, Peach, Toole, Jorgensen, Callaway, and Wright. How good was Jorgensen against the British and Irish Lions? Dude is lethal. He's also a very young man. He's lightning quick. Good to see him. And then Corey Toole. Imagine playing Toole and Jorgensen. That would be one of the fastest winged duos in world rugby, surely. But Toole hasn't quite got the backing of Joe to get a test cap just yet. This must be his third time in the squad. And with the way Peach played against the Lions in that third test, he still may be down the pecking order a little bit. Wright is obviously the preferred guy at fullback. Potter is injured, alongside, as I mentioned, Lionel Lolosio and Gordon. So there are a few guys out for the Wallabies, but I think you'd be pretty happy with the squad. Start Tupou if he's fit. Start Skelton. Bring on Salako Loto. You got Valentini there. That's where you're getting your direct, up the guts, busting through the box if possible. And then there's a real bunch of excitement in the backs, but they will need to get some go-forward ball because at times they really struggled with that against the Lions, and the box will be bringing it defensively for sure. First two games, Joburg and Cape Town. A lightning delay wouldn't go amiss in terms of getting a breather into the likes of Tupou and Skelton if they are fit, but you can't be planning on that. Then home games against the Pumas, and then away and home against the All Blacks. So we'll see how these guys go this Rugby Championship campaign. Like I said, there's a few guys kind of in and out. Hooker and 10 have had a few chopping and changings going on, but there are enough areas of consistency. I think you'd be decently happy if you're a Wallabies fan. Build on some of the momentum from that final Lions tour test. But South Africa is going to be a tough place to go. If you want Wallabies gear, check the Wallabies store down in the description. They're an affiliate of the channel. But you guys let us know your thoughts on how you reckon the Wallabies are going to go. I still think they're a team tracking pretty well. But as I said, South Africa first up, 2 games, not going to be easy. You'd feel like with Joburg being at altitude, Cape Town is potentially more likely, but we will see. You guys take care, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.